What if a sacred text was more than just words on a page? What if it held a hidden message, a kind of complex architecture woven from numbers, symbols, and spiritual meaning? Well, today we're going to dive into a pretty fascinating theory from our source material that suggests exactly that, a cosmic riddle hidden deep within the Quran. Let's see what that's all about. So, the huge question we're really exploring today is this. Is there a hidden message in the Quran that goes beyond the literal text? And we're not just talking about interpretation here. We're talking about a deep underlying structure that, according to this theory, actually connects the physical book to the cosmos itself. The source material really sets the stage with this quote, suggesting that hidden within is a complex cosmic architecture, a harmony that unites numbers, verses, and spiritual meaning. I mean, that one idea is the foundation for everything we're about to look at. It's a huge claim, right? That the Quran isn't just a book to be read, but a system that's meant to be decoded. All right, so where do we even begin to unravel a riddle this big? Well, according to the theory, it all starts with two foundational keys. We've got to have these to unlock its deeper meaning. The first one is a number, and the second one is an action. So that first key, the gateway into this whole cosmic puzzle, is the number 7. It shows up so often in the Quran that it's pretty much impossible to ignore. And this theory suggests it's way, way more than just a number. So why 7? What's the big deal? Well, in Islamic tradition, it's this powerful symbol of completion of a perfect cycle. And you see it pop up everywhere. The 7 heavens mentioned in the Quran, the 7 days of the week, those 7 rotations you make around the Kaaba during pilgrimage, and this is a big one, the 7 verses of Al-Fatiha, the opening chapter. It's kind of like a cognitive symbol for totality. Think about it like this. When you begin a prayer, you say Allahu Akbar out loud, and that audibly shifts your focus, right? Well, this theory proposes that the number 777 works as a kind of silent key, a numeric takbir, that unlocks the spiritual dimension of the text itself. It's meant to connect the vastness of the heavens to the intimacy of your own prayer. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The second key isn't a static number at all. It's a dynamic action, repetition, or ulang. And this totally shifts our focus from just looking at symbols to the actual practice of worship. So Al-Fatiha is known as As-Sabul al-Matathani, which translates to the 7 oft-repeated verses. It's the chapter you recite in every single unit of every daily prayer. And according to this theory, this isn't just, mindless memorization. It's about creating a very conscious spiritual loop. Every single time you repeat it, you're activating a cycle, constantly renewing that connection between you and the divine. Okay, so we've got our two keys, the number 7 and the act of repetition. Now, the theory takes these more abstract ideas and claims to find something incredibly concrete, a verifiable mathematical fingerprint that's actually embedded within the scripture itself. Okay, stay with me here, because this part gets a little into the weeds with some symbolic numerology. The theory lays out a 4-step calculation. Step 1 uses gematria, which assigns a numeric value to letters. So the Arabic word for 7, Saba, gets a value of 133. Step 2, that's easy. Al-Fatiha has 7 verses. Step 3 is the symbolic subtraction, they call it a loss, of those 7 verses from 133, which leaves us with 126. And then finally, in step 4, that number gets squared, creating what the theory calls a holistic square. Now, it's really, really important to get this. This whole calculation is presented as a metaphor. It's meant to illustrate a really powerful idea that you find in sacred geometry, that the smallest part, in this case Al-Fatiha, which is known as the mother of the book, actually contains and reflects the essence of the whole thing, the entire Quran. But then things take a sharp turn. The theory takes that metaphorical idea and zeroes in on one very specific number, 1587. And this is where it makes a bold leap, from the purely symbolic to a claim about the actual physical printed text. This number, 1587, is proposed as a unique mathematical fingerprint. The idea here is that this isn't just some random number, it's a specific, non-replicable signature that's embedded within the standardized printed version of the Quran, the one known as the Medina Mushaf. It's like a watermark, right? So where is it? Well, according to the source, this signature is located across a specific range of pages, 262 to 267. This section happens to contain the 15th chapter, Surah Al-Hijr. And here's the kicker. This is where the theory makes this incredible connection. Verse 87 of this exact chapter explicitly says, "And we have certainly given you 7 of the often repeated verses." It's a direct, undeniable link right back to our second key, al-Fatiha. Okay, so we've looked at the keys, we've seen this alleged fingerprint, but what does it all mean? What's the big picture here? Now the theory expands into its most profound and honestly abstract layers. What is the ultimate spiritual meaning behind all of this? To explain this, the source introduces this geometric concept it calls the golden triangle. And don't just think of it as a shape, it's a whole spiritual framework, a field of worship that absolutely requires 3 distinct points to even exist. And these 3 points are completely inseparable. First, you have the Prophet Muhammad as the one who received it and lived it. Second, you have al-Fatiha as the microcosm, the very heart of prayer. And third, you have the Quran itself as the macrocosm of divine guidance. The theory argues that if you try to remove any one of these points, the entire structure of worship just collapses. And this brings us to the final and, let's be honest, the most mind-bending layer of this whole theory. It suggests that this entire riddle, the numbers, the repetition, the fingerprint, the triangle, all of it comes together to form a hidden, unwritten, 115th chapter. A latent Quran, a message that is always there, but it's silent and unseen, just waiting to be detected. So how on earth do you wrap your head around that? Well, the source gives us a brilliant analogy. Think of a radio wave. The theory says this latent message works the same way. The signal is everywhere, all around us, but to actually perceive it, we need a tuned consciousness, a receiver that combines our heart, our mind, and even the physical touch of the book itself. So when you put it all together, this cosmic riddle is really being presented as an invitation. It's a call to experience the Quran not just by reading the words, but by feeling its rhythm, by counting its patterns, and by physically touching its form. And that really leaves us with a final, powerful question to chew on. What if a sacred text isn't just some ancient artifact to be read, but a living cosmos to be explored? What if it's meant to be felt and counted and touched, revealing its deepest secrets not just to our eyes, but to our entire being?